I don't know if you could see it, but the hair is literally stuck.
This is not bread, y'all. This is like a sponge or something.
But it's like plastic.
What if the foods you trust most are slowly poisoning you? Not some fancy imported delicacy or risky street food, but the everyday Walmart staples you feed your family without a second thought. According to the CDC's 2025 Mid-Year Foodborne Illness Report, over 1 in 6 Americans will suffer from contaminated or chemically compromised food this year, and seniors make up nearly half of all hospitalizations. Even worse, an FDA enforcement update from June 2025 revealed that multiple Walmart private label products were part of Class 1 recalls, the most dangerous category, linked to E. coli, listeria, and salmonella outbreaks. So if the foods we trusted as safe are compromised, how much of our health have we already traded away for a cheap price tag? And more importantly, how many of these hidden dangers are already sitting in your kitchen right now? This is the Downturn Report, where the truth gets personal. Today we reveal 10 popular Walmart foods that are slowly ruining your health. Let's begin. Number 1. Great value frozen cooked shrimp. Some things feel like they're doing you a favor, don't they? Like when your neighbor brags about getting a deal on a car that rattles so loud, but he swears it's fine because it was cheap. Walmart's Great Value frozen cooked shrimp gave us that same kind of false comfort. The blue and white packaging looked as honest as a handshake, and the words premium quality, responsibly sourced, ready to eat whispered that we were being clever shoppers. It felt good, almost like beating the system. For a moment, you could almost feel like you'd stepped into a fancier life. But bargains like this usually come with a bill no one tells you about until it's too late. The illusion snapped in March of 2025 when Consumer Reports and the Environmental Working Group released tests showing these shrimp contained triple the legal US limits of nitrofurans and malachite green. And malachite green isn't just a strange scientific name you can shrug off. It's a known carcinogen, banned in Europe for more than 2 decades. Picture sprinkling a little paint thinner on your dinner and convincing yourself it's harmless because it was on sale. That's about as close as this premium quality comes to being the real thing. Worse yet, leaked audits reported by Reuters in April that year exposed what happens before these shrimp land in your freezer. Farms in Vietnam and Thailand supplying Walmart had workers wading waist-deep in chemical-soaked ponds for 12-hour shifts with skin burns and coughing fits. One worker said bluntly, "They care more about keeping the shrimp pink than keeping us alive." And still, Walmart printed ethically sourced on every bag, like putting a shiny bow on a broken gift. Then NBC's undercover team made things even uglier in February 2025. Some approved farms were recycling untreated wastewater, a brew of bacteria, and leftover chemicals, pumping it back into the same ponds. That's the stew your shrimp fattened up in, the same shrimp you proudly served to your family. For older Americans, these aren't distant risks. Liver damage, allergic reactions, and digestive problems are landmines waiting to explode in already fragile bodies. Adding insult to injury, Walmart refused to reveal which farms were responsible, hiding behind proprietary agreements. Would you trust a diner that refused to tell you which kitchen cooked your food after a rat infestation? Why is this any different? Still, maybe Walmart isn't the villain twisting its mustache just for fun. The seafood industry is a brutal race where low prices keep customers coming, but at a cost that someone has to pay, with workers suffering, the environment poisoned, and our health tossed aside. Maybe Walmart is stuck playing by rules set by a system that rewards cutting corners. But does that justify selling carcinogens to families who believe the label? Better choices exist if you look. Aldi's Fremont brand tested clean, sourced under strict third-party monitoring. Trader Joe's wild-caught Argentinian red shrimp is safer and tastier. Even canned wild Alaskan pink salmon is an affordable way to get omega-3s without the chemical baggage. If nothing else, soaking shrimp in lemon juice and baking soda for 20 minutes can strip some surface toxins, though let's be honest, it won't scrub away corporate greed. But the bigger question sticks, doesn't it? If even a simple bag of shrimp hides danger this deep, what else have we been quietly trading our health for? And maybe the saddest thought is this: are we too tired, too stretched thin to demand anything better? Number 2. Great Value sliced American cheese. What if the real danger at your dinner table wasn't the greasy burger or the fries on the side, but that shiny yellow square you lay so proudly on top? Cheese, of all things, is supposed to be harmless, comforting even. It's the shortcut to happiness, the secret that turns a plain sandwich into a warm memory. Walmart's Great Value sliced American cheese has long played that comforting role. Marketed as creamy perfection and a taste of home. For older Americans who grew up with dairy commercials showing happy cows and rolling green pastures, it felt like the same simple goodness at a price anyone could afford. But peel back that cheerful wrapper, and what you're really holding isn't cheese at all. It's a neat little package of corporate sleight of hand. By April of 2025, the Center for Food Safety issued a blistering report accusing several major retailers, Walmart included, of mislabeling processed cheese products. Great Value ranked among the worst offenders. Laboratory analysis showed it contained only 42% actual dairy. The rest was a mix of hydrogenated vegetable oils, modified starches, and titanium dioxide, a whitening agent banned in the European Union since 2022 for its cancer-linked risks. Consumer Reports went further, finding that some batches contained 2.5 times more titanium dioxide than the FDA's recommended threshold. Let that sink in. Every grilled cheese sandwich might be closer to chewing on softened plastic than on wholesome dairy. The way it's made doesn't inspire much more confidence. In March, Vice News released whistleblower footage from a contracted Wisconsin cheese plant supplying Walmart. Workers were seen hauling thick, rubbery cheese mass out of industrial mixers with battered buckets coated in old residue. One worker laughed, saying, "You could patch a wall with this stuff." The FDA later cited the plant for sanitation violations, including mold in mixing vats and chemical cross-contamination. Think about that next time you watch a slice melt beautifully onto your burger. Underneath that gooey texture could be a chemical experiment dressed up as dinner. The human cost is harder to stomach than any ingredient list. A February 2025 investigation by Human Rights Watch uncovered labor abuses on mega dairies supplying Walmart's processing plants. Workers described 12-hour shifts without proper breaks, hands burned by caustic cleaning agents, and physical injuries caused by forcing over-milked cows into production cycles that push them beyond their natural limits. "Those cows cry, and so do we," one exhausted worker admitted. That's the grim reality hidden behind a product sold as an all-American kitchen staple. Still, maybe Walmart isn't sitting in a boardroom scheming to poison anyone. The truth is uglier because it's predictable. Americans demand cheap cheese, and big box stores fight to keep prices as low as possible. In that kind of war, something has to give, and too often it's safety, quality, and basic ethics. Maybe the executives aren't villains. They're players trapped in a system that rewards cutting corners and punishes anyone who dares slow down for integrity. Does that excuse it? Number. But it does make this mess feel like a tragedy we all helped write. If that slice of processed yellow has you second-guessing your next sandwich, there are better ways. Cabot Creamery's Vermont cheddar slices, made from real milk, often go on sale at stores like Hannaford and Meijer. Tillamook's farm-style slices have no synthetic additives and frequently show up in bulk deals at Costco. If money is tight, buying a block of cheddar or Colby and slicing it yourself saves cash and dodges the chemical cocktail hiding in those plastic-wrapped squares. Freeze slices between sheets of wax paper, and you'll have convenience without compromise. But here's the thought that sticks long after the sandwich is gone. When even something as ordinary as cheese turns into a moral and health gamble, what does that say about where we're heading? If our comfort foods are built on suffering and shortcuts, how much of our trust, and maybe even our humanity, are we quietly trading away just to save a few pennies? Number 3. Great Value canned green beans. A can of green beans shouldn't feel like a gamble, should it? It's supposed to be the safest thing on the shelf. Plain, dependable, almost like a little handshake from the past. You toss it in your cart without blinking because, really, what could go wrong with beans? Walmart's Great Value canned green beans played on that very trust, selling not just vegetables but a feeling of home-cooked comfort wrapped up in a cheap green label. For older Americans stretching every grocery dollar, it felt like a small win, a backup for hard times, like money in a coffee tin under the bed. But when the warm nostalgia cracks, it feels like betrayal sharper than a broken promise from an old friend. January of 2025 made that clear when the USDA raised a full-blown alarm. More than 100 cases of severe gastrointestinal illness were traced back to these very cans, and by February, Consumer Reports confirmed Clostridium botulinum spores, the kind of toxin you expect in spy novels, not in Grandma's casserole dish. Botulism isn't just food poisoning, it's the sort of thing that can shut down organs before you even realize what hit you. ABC News spoke with a grandmother in Colorado who ended up in intensive care, whispering through tears, "I thought I was feeding my family something healthy. I almost killed them instead." That single sentence shattered whatever budget-friendly goodness Walmart promised. And the beans themselves weren't the only problem. The real danger grew in the factory. In March, FDA inspection reports revealed broken sterilization equipment at Walmart's Arkansas processing plant, equipment that had failed calibration for months. Holiday demand was high, so instead of shutting production, managers pushed workers to override alarms and keep the cans moving. One former employee told the Washington Post with bitter sarcasm, "If the beans are undercooked, just pray customers don't notice until after New Year's." Imagine that. Our trust boiled down to a prayer no one should have to make. But even before the cans reached that factory, the story was already tainted. Food and water. Watch reported that Walmart's Mexican suppliers were using paraquat, a toxic herbicide banned in dozens of countries for its links to Parkinson's disease. Workers described rashes, coughing fits, and even fainting in the fields. So picture this. The healthy vegetables on your table were first touched by hands that might have been trembling from chemical exposure. Yet Walmart markets these beans as a healthy choice for the family. That's like selling a rusty lawnmower as golf course ready. Still, maybe Walmart isn't twirling a villain's mustache behind the scenes. The truth is uglier and sadder. Executives are crushed under endless demands to keep prices low for customers who can't afford much else. The workers overriding alarms weren't monsters. They were scared people trying to hold on to jobs they could lose in a heartbeat. Maybe this isn't pure greed. Maybe it's a system that punishes anyone who slows down to do things right. But tell that to the woman in Colorado hooked to IVs. Sympathy for Walmart doesn't heal her scars. You do have better options, though they cost a little more. Del Monte's organic canned beans pass independent quality checks and are often discounted at Kroger. Bird's Eye frozen vegetables are flash frozen right after harvest, keeping more nutrients and fewer chemicals. And if you're up for it, buy fresh beans in season and blanch them for the freezer. It's not as hard as it sounds, and at least you know what's going into your food. Even a quick soak of canned beans in vinegar water can reduce some pesticide residue when cans are unavoidable. But every time we reach for the cheapest can, are we quietly voting for this system to keep running? If every dollar saved pushes workers to cut corners and risks our health, what does that say about the way we all live now? Maybe this isn't just Walmart's failure. Maybe it's a quiet tragedy we're all helping right, one cheap can at a time. Number 4, great value chicken nuggets. A bag of chicken nuggets shouldn't feel like a ticking time bomb, but that's exactly what Walmart's great value nuggets have turned into. They're sold as the perfect quick dinner, crispy, golden, cheap, and comforting, like a warm pat on the back after a long day. For grandparents babysitting tired kids or parents counting every penny, throwing them into the oven feels like giving love without breaking the bank. But what if that love is nothing more than a crispy disguise for something dangerous? In May 2025, The Guardian US revealed lab tests from the Center for Foodborne Illness Research and Prevention showing salmonella contamination in 28% of Walmart's nuggets, some antibiotic resistant. The CDC linked 43 hospitalizations across 6 states to these products, with 3 severe bloodstream infections. "I thought it was a treat," an Iowa grandfather said. "I ended up praying in a hospital." The production story is worse. ProPublica's undercover footage in March showed sick, injured birds being processed, some covered in sores and fecal matter. Workers described burns and amputations from handling scalding machines without proper gear. One bitterly joked, "If people knew how these nuggets start, they wouldn't feed them to their dogs." The FDA later confirmed multiple sanitation violations, including cross-contamination from raw poultry. Even the ingredients betrayed trust. Consumer Reports found sodium aluminum phosphate, TBHQ, and artificial flavor enhancers, chemicals tied to hyperactivity and cancer risks. Europe banned TBHQ years ago, but here it still coats those family-approved bites. Yes, Walmart operates under crushing pressure to keep food cheap for families who can't afford more, and workers are victims too. But does that excuse serving chemical-laced, bacteria-ridden chicken? Better options exist. Purdue. Simply Smart Organics and Applegate Naturals at Aldi are safer. Or make homemade nuggets. Fresh chicken, breadcrumbs, air-fried, then frozen for quick meals. Because if even nuggets hide this much danger, what else are we quietly trading our health for? Number 5. Market-side fresh spinach. Spinach is supposed to be the safe choice, the good food that makes you feel like you're doing something right. Walmart's market-side fresh spinach sells that image perfectly. It's clear bags showing off crisp green leaves under labels promising triple washed and farm fresh. For older Americans trying to eat healthier, it feels like an easy win. A salad for lunch, sautéed greens for dinner, and maybe a little hope of staying strong. But this bag of virtue? It's hiding something far darker. In February 2025, the FDA and CDC linked a multi-state E. coli 0157:H7 outbreak to market-side spinach. 79 people were hospitalized and 3 died across 5 states. This isn't mild food poisoning, it's a strain that can trigger kidney failure, especially in seniors. An Arizona retiree told CBS, "I thought I was making a healthy salad. A week later, I was hooked up to IVs." The real scandal is how it happened. Food Safety News revealed the spinach was irrigated with runoff contaminated by nearby cattle operations. Essentially, fields were watered with bacteria-laced sludge. Walmart had been warned months earlier, according to leaked logistics documents, but stayed with those farms for cost and volume advantages. One insider admitted, "Empty shelves look worse than bad headlines." Imagine calculating lives against profits like that. Even the triple-washed claim fell apart. Consumer Reports testing in January found market-side spinach carried higher bacterial counts than competitors, some samples even containing listeria. Triple-washed clearly meant little more than a marketing trick. To be fair, Walmart isn't alone in this mess. Supplying millions of cheap $2 bags year-round means cutting deals with massive farms that prioritize speed over safety. Maybe the executives aren't villains. They're trapped in a race for low prices we all helped create. Better choices exist. Earthbound Farm, organic at Kroger and Taylor Farms. Organic baby kale at Aldi ranks safer. Or buy fresh spinach from farmers markets, wash thoroughly in vinegar water and freeze portions. Because if even spinach carries this much risk, what else are we blindly trusting just because it comes in a shiny bag? Number 6. Great value ground beef. Ground beef is supposed to feel safe, even comforting, the heart of family meals. Walmart's great value. Ground beef sells that trust perfectly, marketed as all-American and quality guaranteed. For working-class families, serving burgers or meatloaf from a cheap package feels like doing right by the family. But that sense of security crumbles fast once you see what's really behind the label. In April 2025, the USDA issued a Class 1 recall, its highest risk level, after detecting E. coli 0157:H7 in over 70,000 pounds of Walmart ground beef. By May, the CDC confirmed 58 hospitalizations and 2 cases of kidney failure. A Michigan retiree told USA Today, "I was proud to grill for my family. I didn't know I was serving poison." This wasn't an accident. It was predictable. Reuters exposed that a key Kansas supplier had repeatedly failed sanitation audits since late 2024, with persistent fecal contamination and filthy grinding equipment. Workers admitted they were pressured to ignore visible contamination to meet Walmart's tight deadlines. One said flatly, "If we stopped every time we saw fecal matter, we'd never ship on time." The product itself isn't what you think either. Consumer Reports found high levels of lean, finely textured beef, pink slime, treated with ammonia to kill bacteria. Europe banned it years ago, but here it still slips into cheap meat. You might think you're shaping pure beef patties, but you're handling scraps spun through chemicals. Human Rights Watch added another ugly layer, reporting injuries, chemical burns, and abuse among workers in Walmart's beef plants. One worker said bitterly, "We're treated worse than the cows." Yes, Walmart is trapped in a system obsessed with cheap meat, but does that excuse selling food that risks lives? Better options? Aldi's Simply Nature organic ground beef tested clean with no E. coli or pink slime. Grinding your own beef from a fresh roast, if possible, cuts contamination risk dramatically. Because the real question is, when did saving a few dollars become worth gambling with our health and the people who make our food? Number 7. Great value ice cream sandwiches. An ice cream sandwich should feel like harmless joy, a small, sweet escape on a hot day. Walmart's great value ice cream sandwiches sell exactly that image. creamy, wholesome indulgence at under $3 a box. For grandparents sneaking treats to grandkids or anyone craving a little comfort, it feels like happiness you can buy without guilt. But when sweetness is this cheap, the real cost hides under the wrapper. In March 2025, the Environmental Defense Fund ranked Walmart sandwiches worst in their category for chemical additives. Lab tests found propylene glycol, carrageenan, and polysorbate 80 linked to gut inflammation and fertility risks. Consumer Reports later confirmed propylene glycol levels nearly 30% above the European Union's recommended limit. You're not biting into milk and sugar. You're chewing an industrial formula shaped like dessert. The milk itself isn't innocent either. NBC's February investigation traced Walmart's dairy suppliers to factory farms where cows were trapped in cramped stalls, some with untreated wounds. Workers admitted injecting them with RBGH, banned in Canada and Europe for raising antibiotic and pus levels in milk. One worker summed it up: "The milk keeps flowing, Walmart keeps buying." And the factories? The New York Times revealed repeated pest infestations and temperature control failures, with some batches sitting at unsafe temperatures for 24 hours before being refrozen. A former quality inspector said bluntly, "If you think freezer burn is bad, you don't want to know what grew before it was packed." Maybe Walmart isn't proud of this. It's trapped in a cutthroat market where cheap treats keep families fed. But does that make every bite less troubling? Better options exist. Aldi's Sunday Shop organic sandwiches use humane-sourced milk, and so delicious coconut milk sandwiches are often discounted at Target. Or make your own. Real ice cream pressed between cookies. Simple, clean, and safe. Because if even a childhood dessert hides this much, what else are we swallowing without asking who paid the real price? Number 8. Great Value canned tuna. A can of tuna should be the safest thing in your pantry. Simple, healthy, dependable. Walmart's Great Value canned tuna leans on that trust, boasting dolphin safe and wild caught across the label, like a promise you don't need to question. For older Americans stretching meals, it feels like a smart choice. Heart-healthy protein for just a few dollars. But open that lid, and what you might find isn't just tuna. It's a bitter reminder of how cheap food can come at a steep price. In May 2025, Oceana revealed that nearly 1 in 4 Walmart tuna cans weren't tuna at all, but cheaper species like escaler, known as the X-lax fish, for its severe digestive effects. Consumer Reports later confirmed mercury levels in some samples nearly double the FDA's recommended limit for seniors. One Florida retiree said, "I thought I was eating for my heart. Instead, I got heart palpitations and 2 weeks of cramps." The human cost is just as sickening. The Associated Press linked Walmart's Thai suppliers to forced labor, with workers trapped on fishing boats for months, beaten when they got sick. "We didn't just catch fish, we caught our own misery," one former deckhand said. Even the dolphin-safe claim falters. Earth Island Institute audits found Walmart suppliers killing protected species through bycatch. And then there's the canning process. FDA reports in February flagged a California plant for unsafe sterilization and rusting equipment, raising botulism risks. A former supervisor told the Washington Post, "We scraped off rust and kept packing to meet Walmart's quota." Yes, Walmart operates in a global system squeezed by low prices and high demand, but does that excuse selling mislabeled, toxin-laden fish? Safer options exist. Wild Planet Albacore and Safe Catch Elite test for mercury and source ethically. Or skip tuna entirely. Frozen wild salmon at Aldi costs about the same per serving. Because if even tuna, the symbol of safe eating, has become this compromised, what else are we swallowing without asking what it truly costs? Number 9. Great Value peanut butter. Peanut butter is supposed to be the safest comfort food. Simple, creamy, and trusted for generations. Walmart's Great Value peanut butter leans on that trust, promising quality roasted peanuts at a price anyone can afford. For older Americans on tight budgets, it feels like a pantry hero. But in April 2025, that trust snapped when the FDA recalled Great Value creamy and crunchy peanut butter for Salmonella umbundaca contamination. By May, the CDC reported 62 hospitalizations in 9 states, nearly half involving seniors. One Ohio woman said, "I grew up on peanut butter sandwiches. Now I can't look at a jar without remembering 4 needles." The contamination wasn't random. ProPublica revealed Walmart's Arkansas plant had failed multiple sanitation inspections, with rodent droppings, leaking roofs, and roasting machines unable to reach safe kill temperatures. Workers admitted they were told to keep production running despite broken equipment. One said, "We clean just enough to pass inspections, not enough to keep people safe." Adding to the danger, the New York Times traced Walmart's peanuts to poorly stored shipments from drought-hit farms in India, where aflatoxin contamination, a carcinogenic mold, was a known risk. Consumer Reports found trace aflatoxins in multiple Great Value samples, higher than other brands. For safer spreads, Smucker's Natural or once again organic peanut butter test cleaner. Or make your own. Roasted peanuts blended with a little oil, stored in jars or frozen for months. Because when even peanut butter turns into a health gamble, what does that say about how much we're willing to risk just to save a few cents? Number 10. Great Value frozen mixed vegetables. Frozen vegetables are supposed to be the safest shortcut to healthy eating. Just pour, cook, and feel good about it. Walmart's Great Value frozen mixed vegetables promise farm-picked freshness and flash-frozen nutrition, making them a go-to for older Americans looking for affordable, easy greens. But in June 2025, that promise shattered when the FDA issued a Class 1 recall after detecting Listeria monocytogenes. By July, the CDC confirmed 36 hospitalizations and 4 deaths, most of them seniors. A Kansas man told reporters, "I thought I was making healthy soup for my wife. Instead, I sat by her ICU bed." This wasn't bad luck, it was negligence. Reuters exposed a California facility supplying Walmart where inspectors found dirty standing water, rusty pipes dripping onto vegetables, and broken cooling seals ignored to avoid shipment delays. "We weren't freezing vegetables, we were freezing problems," one worker admitted. And the danger starts even earlier. The Guardian US traced some of Walmart's vegetables to Chinese farms where workers sprayed banned pesticides without protection. Consumer Reports testing found chlorpyrifos residues linked to neurological damage in nearly half the Great Value samples. Better options exist. Cascadian Farm organic vegetables and Aldi's Simply Nature peas scored far safer. Or blanch fresh vegetables at home and freeze in zip bags. Because if even frozen peas can send someone to the hospital, what does that say about the price we're quietly paying for convenience? If this opens your eyes, don't let the truth stop here. Subscribe now, share this with someone you care about, and join us in questioning what's really on our plates. The more voices we have, the harder it becomes for these companies to hide. Together we can demand better, because our health and theirs is worth far more than a cheap meal.
Thanks so much for sticking with us to the very end. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe so you won't miss any of our daily updates. And now feel free to check out some of our latest and most popular videos showing up on your screen. Goodbye, and see you in the next one.